Hey everybody, welcome to episode number 94 of Cameron's Nostalgia Podcast. I'm your host, Cameron Strickland, and today I have with me Cory Rosenberg. How are you?
Yeah, I'm doing well. How are you, Cameron?
Good. Now, for any of the guys who don't know, Cory Rosenberg was a director, creator, executive producer, writer, and art director for Dittydoodle Works.
Correct.
And he's here right now.
I am here. How you doing today?
I'm doing good.
That's great. So, what would you like to know, Cameron, about Dittydoodle Works and the production?
Starting off with our first question.
hmm
How did you get interested in filmmaking?
Oh, it goes way back from when I was a kid. I was very interested in cartoons, and there were some famous creators like Chuck Jones and Walter Lantz and guys like that. And I started getting invested in that. And then as time went on, I started thinking, well, I'd really like to go to film school, but unfortunately, my parents couldn't afford to send me to film school. So I wound up in art school. Um, and I was thinking, how am I going to make money as an artist? And what happened was I wound up finding television commercials. And I wound up majoring in advertising and wound up working for major advertising agencies in New York City, what we would call a madman or Madison Avenue man. And I wound up producing commercials and developing products and working on brands. And I found it fascinating. And somewhere along the line, were working on, I wound up working on um, the MetLife campaign with Charles Schultz and his Snoopy characters. And so that really brought me into the world of licensing, really understanding how these character brands were developed. I got to learn from some of the best of the best. And I was just fascinated about the fact that you could take a two-dimensional drawing and make it a celebrity in a way. So, like Snoopy, like Bugs Bunny, like obviously Mickey Mouse, all of these things have been drawn by a human being and then anthropomorphized in such a way where you could monetize them, put them on shirts and put them in toys and in movies and TV shows and stage shows. And so I was fascinated by that. And that's kind of how this whole thing started. From there, I went on to develop toys. And from advertising, I went on to develop toys and started developing my own character brands. And eventually, my ex-wife was a talented songwriter, so I convinced her to kind of write children's music. She loved children, she loved music, and I brought the two together. I was very familiar with the children's space, being in the toy business and the licensing business. And one thing led to another, and we developed a television show that we pitched to New York Public Television. They wound up partnering with us, and the rest was history. It was a long journey. It was a 12-year journey for Dittydoodle Works.
Nice.
hmm
So, what was your first directing gig?
My first directing gig was actually television commercials, and some music videos for some artists that were trying to climb the charts. And then I moved into television with Dittydoodle Works. And I wound up directing 14 of the 40 Dittydoodle Works episodes. Um, and it was a very exciting thing. It was a very exciting opportunity. I also wound up building my own production facility. We had an 18,000 square foot production facility with a prop shop and animation suites and music suites and a wardrobe department. It was very, very exciting.
Nice.
Mhm.
And do you have a favorite episode of Dittydoodle Works?
Oh, that's a tough question, Cameron. You're asking me tough ones. That's like trying to decide which is my favorite child. I would say that one of my favorites was let's see, Froggy My Prince, which was a really fun one. Um, and the other one would be, I think, Shrinky Shrinky Kronk, which was really exciting, where we got to shrink Shira and Loli in the Shrinky Shrinky Kronk machine that Professor Iki built. So we got to see Diddy Do Works from a different perspective. I directed that episode, and it was a lot of fun.
And where was Dittydoodle Works filmed?
Dittydoodle Works was filmed at my studio on Long Island. We had an 18,000 square foot facility, like I said, and it was filmed right there on Long Island. It was a beautiful studio. It was amazing.
Rogar Studios.
Correct. Rogar Studios.
I was wondering if you could bring some puppets.
I don't have puppets. All the puppets are in storage. I don't have puppets in my office. Um, I don't have any of the actual puppets because they're very delicate and they require temperature controlled storage. So that's where those guys are hanging out.
Was it Doodles?
Doodles was the crayon. Um, Doodles was created to represent um, somebody that maybe was different than everybody else. As you know, a crayon doesn't have arms and legs in this case, but it didn't stop him from being vocal and being a leader and being engaged. Um, and yeah, Doodles was one of our lead characters, as you know.
And how about Zippy the Quirk?
Zippy the Quirk. So the word quirk, spelled Quirk, it means that there's something a little off, right? Something that's not 100%. And you know what? Everybody in life has their own little quirks, right? We are all individuals and we have our own little quirks. And what Zippy was created to represent is to embrace your imperfections, right? And so he was developed um, to be kind of that guy that doesn't always get it right, um, but he learns from it, and he's always trying to grow. And with the compassion of his other cast members, he usually learns a really good lesson every time he fails. And that's kind of very synonymous to life, wouldn't you think?
I like it.
Yeah, good.
And do you have a behind the scenes footage or photos of Dittydoodle Works?
Not readily available to you right now. I don't have, I have some probably photos that I could dig up and show you if you'd like. a lot of what went on behind the scenes wasn't something that we wanted to show the public because um, we don't want to. There's a it's kind of like um walking in the back of a Disney World ride. It's like it breaks the myth. Not the myth, but the magic. It takes the magic away. And so a magician doesn't show you his tricks. Same kind of ideology. Um, you have to remember that our costumes were very expensive, animatronic costumes built by Jim Henson's Creature Shop. Um, they were operated with electronic servos, very similar to an airplane, model airplane or helicopter would be operated, or a drone. And they were very expensive and they had to be handled with care. So it wasn't the kind of thing that we generally videotaped because it was all hands on deck when we were handling those heads and costumes. Does that make sense?
Yes. So, it was run by American Public Television.
Well, was distributed by American Public Television. So the public television system had a couple of major distributors. The two top ones were PBS, the Public Broadcasting System, and American Public Television. Mr. Rogers was distributed by American Public Television for many, many years. And essentially, we used them as our distribution channel because there was a lot of changes and things like that at PBS. It was very political at one time, and so it was quite difficult to negotiate that distribution um, for us at that time. We were supposed to be distributed originally by PBS, but we there was a regime change and a lot of pride of authorship, and we wound up kind of getting downgraded to American Public Television. But we still did very well despite the downgrading of distribution. Sometimes you got to roll with things, right, Cameron?
Right. And, hmm, do you ever go to Sesame Street?
Did I ever go to the physical set? Yes. I have done some stuff with Sesame Street. We shared a lot of staff with Sesame Street. A lot of our puppeteers came from Sesame Street. Um, and Sesame Street is a very phenomenal organization. And I've had the great privilege of working with some of their talents. So, and working with them. Um, so yes, I have.
And Dittydoodle Works was streaming on Tubi.
Yeah, it continues to stream on Tubi. It's available on Tubi. It's also the music videos from Dittydoodle Works is available on a channel called Smileworks um, on YouTube. And Smileworks is not really being promoted at this time, but it is available for public consumption. So you could get the probably about 60 or so music videos on that channel, Smileworks on YouTube, Smileworks TV.
Okay. And do you have a favorite song?
Oh, that's another tough question, Cameron. You're coming up with all the tough ones today. I would say one of my favorite songs is Fess Up When You Mess Up. I love the lesson that teaches, and I think it's good for adults and children. When you make a mistake, just admit that you make the mistake. apologize and move on. So I like that song a lot.
Nice. And I know of Zippy McCork was done by Tyler Bunch.
Yes, the infamous Tyler Bunch. Tyler also made his directorial debut with Dittydoodle Works and got to direct a couple of episodes. So it was a tremendous opportunity to work with Tyler. As you know, Tyler is a phenomenal, phenomenal puppeteer. Um, and we had such a really, really great and special crew. Eric Engelhart, who used to work with us, unfortunately passed away during our production, was an amazing, amazing guy, and worked with Sesame Street for many, many years and the Muppets, um, and was a great puppet builder. And we just had a really, really special team. I was blessed to get that kind of talent on my team.
All right. And you worked for a live show.
Yes, we took Diddy Do the Works live um, in stages. So when Diddy Do the Works was first launched, it was launched just in New York as what we call interstitials. So we took music videos and we launched them on regional television. It was New York tri-state area. To promote those shows, we made an arrangement with mostly Simon Malls, and we were doing a lot of mall tours. Um, those mall tours got so popular that we were literally shutting down the mall with people. And this is before social media, and word still got out. So it was really, really cool. Um, at one point, we had to move to a bigger venue because we were attracting too many people to the mall. It was disrupting the mall, it was disrupting shoppers, it was closing down stores. People couldn't get into the stores. And so you couldn't walk the mall. And so it was exciting for us, and then at that point, a company called Clear Channel came along and they were running a venue called the Westbury Music Fair. And we wound up moving to that venue. And then that led to us getting attracting Answer's Entertainment Group, AEG Live. And we partnered with them to do a national live tour for Diddy Doodle Works. And we did that. The pajama party. We did a pajama party in the park first at Eisenhower Park in Long Island, and that attracted over 6,000 people. And then we took the pajama party concept and we made Pajama Party Live tour, and that toured all over the country.
I know if Daniel Weisbrod was a puppeteer for Zippy.
Dan took over for Tyler when Tyler was directing, and when Tyler was on other projects. Um, Dan was a terrific Zippy. He was season two, most of season two, and he's a phenomenal guy and a dear. I will always consider him a dear friend. Yeah, and Dan is a good guy. Yep.
And do you watch Pahapahui Island?
I don't. Um, I haven't. I haven't stayed just in the preschool world in terms of production. I've worked with my daughter on a couple of movies. We're working on a musical, and we're doing some other things. But I have not stayed. really super entrenched in the preschool sector.
And do you watch the Book of Pooh?
I know of the Book of Pooh. I've watched about it. I watched it before, and it's terrific.
And Tom Naziola was a composer for the show.
Tom was one of the composers. He wasn't the main composer. Um, our main composer was a guy by the name of Joseph Baker, and at the time there was a very accomplished gentleman named Marvin Hamlish who was alive, who was also involved in the music and music direction, along with my ex-wife Shira.
And do you watch Baby Einstein?
No, but I did work on Baby Einstein years ago with a couple of people on I knew the developers. Great thing before they got sold to Disney. Great, a brilliant idea. Yeah. So
Okay, I guess that's it.
terrific. Is there anything else that you think you want to ask before we end?
Here goes. Well, Corey, thank you so much for your time.
You're welcome very much.
Is there anything else you'd like to say?
No, I want to thank you for keeping the spirit of Dittydoodle Works alive and doing for what you're doing to get people educated about puppets and puppeteers and keeping that art alive. It's a really special art. It goes back well before the time of Pinocchio. Actually, it goes back to ancient times. And I hope that your generation could keep it alive and well.
Nice. Stay tuned for a bit more guests coming up. Until the next time. Peace.
Take care, Cameron. Thanks so much.